everybody, it's Hannah here with another video, and I'm gonna do a story time video which I'm gonna read off of my phone, and this is gonna be called 7 Real Life Events That Were More Terrifying Than a Horror Movie. And let's just get started. And if you like these kind of videos, please like, subscribe, and share with others who likes these kind of videos. A little paragraph before I start on the first story is there's a reason why so many horror movies claim to be based on actual events. Reality excuse me. In reality can be scary as hell, and it's often weirder and more nightmare including than anything on the big screen. Here are even 7 events that will sound like a plots of a terrifying horror movies, except they're much more disturbing because they're completely true. Number 1, the Watcher letters. You may remember this eerie title because this recent and it was very highly published. A New Jersey family sued a previous owners of the home after they received 3 disturbing letters from someone who called him or herself the Watcher, who was fixated on the 1905 colonial style home as a new occupants. The undefined letter written certain has spectacular creepy way, the words referring to Derek and Mariah bore some 3 children as the young blood you have brought me, and asking things like, have you found out what's in the walls yet? You can read entire lawsuit which is filled in the nightmare material. The lawsuit, in here, this is the lawsuit right in here, which I'm going to read right now. Well, I'm going to try, it's kind of small. Painful first learned of the Watcher's mentally disturbed fixations and claimed to possession and or homeowners of the home on or about June 5th, 2014. 3 days after the closing, when the plaintiffs received the first 3 letters dated June 4th, 2014, wherein the Watcher claimed the following: with the regards of the home has been subject of my family's decades. I have to be put in charge of watching and waiting for second comings. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s and my father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time. Why you were here, I will find out. Now they will have to vaunt it. They paid the price. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Bad move. You don't want to make 657 Buland unhappy. Do you need to fill the house with a young blood, I requested. Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me, and I will ask the woods to bring me young blood. So that's kind of practically the little letter that they received. The lawsuit, which is the court, was filed after the Brodus family abandoned the house, fearing their safety. The base is that the previous owners knew about it, the washer, but didn't bother to warn them ahead of time. The house was put on for sale in February of 2015, but the living was removed once the story became attention. Last month, the Brodus family made bold move, according to NJ.com, since everybody wanted to pay $1 million for the house that has such strong stigma attached to it. They apply for a planning board permit to tear the house down and replace it with new dwellings. It's one way to establish their financial burden while their suit is still in court. As a bonus, it's tidy FU and FU to the stalker too. Ooh. Number 2, the Russian grave robber. In this case, a photo, even kind of blurred one, stays a lot. And I'm going to turn this up to show you the picture. I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. There we go. No, go back. There we go. This is just one of the 29 dolls made from the mummified female's corpse removed from the homes of 59-year-old Anthony Moskins, described by the BBC as a local historian and explorer in the Russian city of Nizhny Novgorod, which humans dolls was carefully dressed with the hands and face covered in cloth. Some were purchased on furniture, others on shelves. One body had been made to look like a teddy bear with a stuffed animal head on top the neck. The mirror, which reported the bodies, were girls ages 3 to 12. Pilfered a dozen of dug-up graves, claims that Moskvin had a specific purpose in mind while establishing his collection. Moskov, who speak 13 languages and described by some a genius, also gave a multiple corpse names and organisms birthday parties for them. He also compiled up-to-date informed about the lives for each girl. He dug up and printed off instructions on the computer for how long to produce dogs out of the human's remains. His grisly activities were partly discovered when his parents paid a surprise visit. Although he was arrested in 2011, he was deemed unfit to stand trial. Number 3, the spooky house incentive. In August 2006, just before the start of their senior year in high school, a group of girls was driving around their hometown of Worthington, Ohio. The boring night was suddenly filled with exciting potential when they decided to cruise by the local kids called Spooky House and ran down dwelling with a overground yard that was perfectly saturated across the street from a cemetery. The teens brought it was abandoned. They were unfortunately quite mistaken. It was the first time in 41 years Alan S. Davis, a recluse who lived in the house with her okay, it wasn't the first time 41-year-old Alan S. Davis, I think I screenshotted a little chunk. I'm sorry if it ends up being confusing. It wasn't the first the time 41-year-old Alan S. Davis, a recluse who lived in the house with the elderly mother who had been the best by unwanted guest. I think I did, but I'm sorry. Break-ins in 2006. He had a rifle as protection, and when he heard the girls outside, he figured he had to fire off some warning shots since it had been worked before. But this time, the Wayyard bullet struck 17-year-old Rachel Barzinski in the head. Mariskely has survived, and ensuing the case divided the community. Some people believe Davis was likely mentally ill and still acting with his rights of protection property. But as Fox News reported in 2007, police determined the girls were not trespassing because they had gone far enough into the property and no clear visible signs that had been posted. Davis was set in jailhouse interviews, and he did not tend to hurt anyone. He eventually pleaded guilty with 2 court of felonies assaulted to avoid a draw out of the probe into his personal life. In 2009, Davis' mother died in the home while her son was in prison, surviving his 19-year-old sentence. In 2013, Barski's family said that the young woman was 90% recovered from her injuries. That same year, the spooky house was purchased and abducted by its owner, who was determined to completely renovate the place. A Google Earth search proves that they did an amazing job through their no hiding the view of the cemetery. Number 4, the Coachella school bus kidnapping. In July 1974, 26 kids 5 through 14 were on their yellow school bus heading home from their second to last day of summer in Coachella, California. The mood was festival until an apparently broke down van blocked the road and masked men with guns burst through the front door of the bus. The children and the driver were soon herded into a pair of vans, driven around 11 hours in stifling heat, eventually stopped at a rock barrier near Livermore, some 100 miles north of Coachella. The ordeal only got stranger and scarier from there. In 2015, looked back at the case at CNN spoke a number of kidnapping victims, including Linda Carriol Limbario, sorry if I pronounced the name but wrong, who was in 4th grade at this time. The kidnapper asked the child his or her name, age, address, phone number. They also looked a piece of clothing or belonging from each student. But the gunmen never explained why they were abducting the children. I only recalled them not telling us to shut up and be quiet. Carrie Joe Lam, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but said, with only some construction lights illustrating the dark, Carrie and the kidnapper ordered the children on the bus driver and look like massive graves. Moving van hidden underground. It was buried into the earth. It was like a tomb. She said it was like a coffin, it was like a giant coffin for all of us. The hostage had a decent leader into the back of the hidden vehicle, which had been transformed into a crude holding pen for the group. There was minimal food, no ventilation. After 16 hours, the only adult present, driver Edward Ray, and some of the older kids came up with a plan. Stocking mattress with a high as they go, shoving through a metal plate on the roof of the van, and digging their way into freedom. The kidnappers who snoozed around escaped. Weren't hard to track down. No one of them was the son of the man who owned the carrier. All 3 men hailed from wealthy families, so their motive of the crime of $5 million ransom, and they never got into demand. Since the Coachella police were talking to so many calls, they frantic parents of the school children remained somewhat baffled. They were Acrony explains as it is. They're greedy. 2 of the kidnappers have since been paroled. The third, who had been multiple times behind bars, it is next eligible in 2018. Survivor Jennifer Brown Haid was the 9 years old in 1976. Last year, the CNN that experience still haunts her. It's not normal for someone who's almost 50 years old to be scared of dark, Brownhide said. Until recently, she had to sleep with a nightlight on and still chronic nightmares. The type of nightmares I have was prepare to die, she said. I actually had nightmares where someone killed me. I saw myself at my own funeral. Number 5. Albert Fish's letters. Albert Fish was a child molester, torturer. He had a set of what he revealed as a implant of hell, including a meat clever serial killer, beat fetish, cannibal, and self-molator. But he had one more nasty trait of invalidated himself for mere monster to something even worse. His urge to gloat. Witness an obscene, anonymous letters he penned to his mother and known victim, 10 years old, Grace Budd. The address to my dear Miss Budd, and the obvious polite about it. Here's the worst, most gruesome part, and you will seriously want to skip reading it. So I'm gonna read it for you guys. So, on Sunday, June the 3rd, 1982, I called on you at 604 West 15th Street, brought you pot cheese, strawberries, which had lunch. We had lunch. Grace sat on my lap and kissed me. I made my mind to... Okay, I'm not going to read it. It's inappropriate, so I'm not... Shuddered. Police were able to... I'm just going to read it. Skip reading it, because it's like a big paragraph, so... And I kind of read a little ahead just now, and I'm just going to skip over it. So, this is after the whole paragraph is done, just so you guys know. Shuddered. Police were able to trace the letter hand used by Fish and send a toxic missive leading to his arrest. He confessed, and in 1939 he executed in Old Sparky at New York singing prison. Number 6. The Porthole Murder. Cruise ship deaths make headlines with the disturbing frequency. One of the very first to achieve monarchy was the murder of England actress Ellen Gibson, who also known as her stage name, Gay Gibson. In 1974, the 21-year-old was heading back to England from South America aboard the Darman Castle, fresh of the appearance of the production of the Clafton O'Duck's play Golden Boy. She never knew it open, having caught the eye of James Cavan, the ship's steward, whose reputation of a womanizer earned him the nickname Don Johnny. However, it seemed that his crewmates didn't realize his conscript was rarely willing. Cans of story changed multiple times and his quizzes by police, but at one point he admitted to shoving a young woman's dead body through a porthole in her cabin, where it made a thousand splash upon hitting the water below. Even without a body, there was enough evidence to convince him. His death sentence was eventually commuted to life, and then he was paroled despite the fact that he's since been accused of rape by the woman who had been passenger aboard the Dawn Castle in 1967. He was arrested again for attacking a 13-year-old girl, but it was only after he assaulted 3 more young women, that he was finally back to prison for life. Woo! Number 7. The woman who almost buried alive. And then there's a little picture so you guys know. In South Carolina, Anderson Intergarin dated a few weeks later had even more vivid reports of the accident. In quoting the not dead yet Albert Markham, and she recalled to ordeal. I was conspicuous all the time. You were making preparedness to bury me, and the horror of my situation was, although beyond description. I prayed to God for strength, and making another attempt excuse to tamping the lid of the coffin. At first I financed the barriers would not hear me, but I would felt one end of the coffins falling suddenly. I knew that I had been heard. Markham's near missing is one of the most noticeable cases of accidental premature builds on records, though of course there were no way of knowing how many non-near missing there have been over the years. And that is all. And I hope you like this video. If you do, please like, please subscribe, and share with others, and I will see you next time. Bye.